Hello everyone, and welcome to QuickeClicks from Delgado Community College Adult Ed Program for our ESL students. This lesson is about negatives and double negative statements. So in New Orleans, you will hear people using double negatives on a routine basis. There are many negative words in English, even some that don't have an N with them, like hardly, scarcely, and barely. The rule generally is that you cannot use more than one of these in a sentence or an independent clause, unless it's separated with a comma, which is a complicated rule. Really, just try to stick to one in a sentence. So you can have a positive statement like I have money, or I care about you, or he has good manners. And by adding a negative word, we can create a negative statement. So I do not have money. I shouldn't care about you. He does not have good manners, right? So here are some double negative statements that you might hear in New Orleans. I don't have no money. I don't care nothing about you. He ain't got no manners. That woman is trifling. That is why she doesn't have no man. You don't have nothing to worry about. We say these...
No. Bueno, sí.
Many of us here in New Orleans use two negative words in one sentence to provide emphasis, right? Emphasis is where you want to put vigor or intensity of expression into what you're saying. So there's many ways to add emphasis to a statement. You might want to think about the ways that you could add emphasis. Maybe you yell, or you use a different choice of words, right? So as an example, when I warn my son, I have many options. I might say, son, please do not touch the ice cream until after dinner. Or I might say, keep your hands off the ice cream until after we eat. Or, you better not touch no ice cream before dinner. The final option shows I mean business. But is that really what I'm saying? It's not. My son is a smart aleck, and he would say, well, if I don't touch no ice cream, I will be disobeying. Therefore, you are telling me that I must touch the ice cream. And he would be grammatically correct. Under the rules of grammar, using two negative words in one sentence makes a positive statement. So we have these things that we say, and we have what we are trying to say, what we mean to say, and then we have what it technically means, right? So the words that we use might be, I don't have no money. What we're trying to say is that I'm broke, or I don't have any money. But technically and actually, it means I have at least 1 cent. If I say they ain't got no manners, I mean that the person is rude, or that the person has bad habits. But really, it technically means that the person has at least a little bit of manners. Because if you don't have none, then you must have some. You don't have nothing to worry about is an endearing thing that we say in New Orleans, and it means that you're going to be all right. Don't worry. But if you say that you don't have nothing to worry about, that in truth, it means that you do have something to worry about. So even if you were laying up at the beach, you might have to worry about sunburn. So, all right, so have you ever heard this song before? It's by a band named Pink Floyd, and Bart does not agree with Pink Floyd. They say we do not need no education. We don't need no education. But Bart says we do need no education. That'd be better for him. He'd be happier, right? Here's another example of how when we use two double negatives, it makes a positive statement, but in fact, what we are trying to do is add some emphasis. So someone might say, hey, you see this guy here, he's chewing. And this guy says, hey, can I have some gum? And this guy says, I ain't got no gum. And then the second guy is sad and he says, okay. And the mean first guy says, I told the truth. I ain't got no gum means I got gum. But what he's saying is that he's not going to share. He has gum, but he is not giving you any of it. All right. We cannot fix this double negative situation by adding another negative. 3 negatives just gets way, way confusing, and you can see that if you try to read these sentences out loud to yourself and then understand what they should mean. So if we want to fix double negative statements, as I'll ask you to do in many tests or activities or in real life, we want to replace the second negative word in the sentence, usually with one of these words: a or any, anyone, anybody, anything, anywhere. Many times you can also leave the second negative out of the sentence. That's true sometimes, but not all the time. So some common things that you might hear properly said is, I don't have any money, or I don't care anything about you. These are our sentences from the beginning of the video. That woman is trifling. That is why she doesn't have a man, right? So we're trying to fix double negative statements. Look for one of those A words. Oftentimes that will fix your mistake. We could also go and try to remove that second negative. We could simply say, I don't have money, or I don't care about you. Here's a list of some rules for double negatives. I would encourage you to write these down, to put the video on pause and write them down into your own notebook. That's the best way to remember things. And now there's also some activities for you, some sentences for you to correct and to take out that second negative word. There's extra homework if you go to allthingsgrammar.com. Our classes are going to resume the week of June 12th. You should be expecting to hear from your teacher between the 8th and the 12th. If you have any questions, please contact your teacher. And if you are not a student and you'd like to join us, you can go to dccaep.org to sign up. Thank you all very much. We look forward to seeing you next time and back in class the week of June 15th in our live meets. Bye now.